okay, Garrett Crochet is a member of the Boston Red Sox. I have not been this excited for a move that the Boston Red Sox have made since, I don't know. Trevor Story doesn't really count because that was like a concession move that was made at the end of the season after all the good free agents were gone. I guess probably since the Chris Sale trade, genuinely since the Chris Sale trade, I don't know that I have been this excited about a move that has happened in my time as a Red Sox fan. Before that, it was like signing David Price. But Garrett Crochet has been traded to the Boston Red Sox. Now, what did the Boston Red Sox give up in replacement for Garrett Crochet? Well, quite a few guys, and the number one name that you guys may have heard is Kyle Teel. Now, who's Kyle Teel? Well, he's a former number one first-round draft pick by the Boston Red Sox. He came out of the University of Virginia, and he is a catcher. He is very high. Let's look at it right now here. I'll go ahead and show you my screen. Let's look at it right now, and let's find Kyle Teel Red Sox prospect rankings. Let's go ahead and look. He was number 25 on MLB Pipeline's top 100 prospects and number 4 in Boston's system at the time of the agreed-upon trade. Okay, so this is a big deal. Kyle Teel is a guy. He's a very good player, and he's projected to be a very good catcher. Now, what do we mean when we say very good catcher? Catcher is one of those weird positions in Major League Baseball where we aren't 100% sure what we mean when we say good catcher. Because catcher is not held to the same standard as other players on a Major League Baseball roster. What do I mean by that? Catchers are a primarily defensive position. If a catcher plays plus defense, they are way more valuable than somebody who plays just above average defense at any other position. If you can play plus defense at catcher for about 120, 110, even for some of the really big grinders, 130 games a season, then you are considered a very valuable catcher, plus defense. You can be the worst hitter on your team. The catcher is almost expected to be the worst hitter on your team. Kyle Teel does not project to be that kind of player. Kyle Teel projects to be an above-average hitter, slightly above average, right around league average hitter, while being an average to maybe below-average defensive catcher. Now, this is where we get into the value of a prospect. Does Kyle Teel stand up to what normally people would think when they think one of the most valuable catchers in the current Major League Baseball prospect pipeline? Personally, I think he does. When it comes to catcher defense versus catcher offense, catchers are typically extremely praised for their defense, and if their offense is plus, then it's a big positive, but it's not necessarily something that you're ever going to look forward to. You're not counting on your catcher to be a super plus offensive player. A really good example of this in recent years is Christian Vasquez. Christian Vasquez played very good defense. I would say above average defense, but was definitely above average offensive player for the Red Sox when he was on the Red Sox. And that's a reason why he had such a pretty good value while he was on that team. Kyle Teel projects to be a average to slightly below average defender with a very big upside as a defender. Or excuse me, as an offensive player. So now that we've gone past Kyle Teel, I think it's important to point out that I don't think that Kyle Teel is actually the most important player in this deal coming from the Red Sox to the White Sox. Braden Montgomery is a spectacular baseball player. Braden Montgomery hit 27 home runs as a college player with Texas A&M. Braden Montgomery made a run at the College World Series. Braden Montgomery was the number 1 pick by the Red Sox in the most recent draft for a reason. Braden Montgomery is going to be a very good Major League Baseball player. And as somebody that was just drafted, you can't put very much like hope on the fact that he's going to develop, you can't really count on the fact. Let's go ahead and pull up his stats here. We'll just go to Baseball Reference and see what he's got as far as minor league stats. Braden Montgomery. Okay, team Chicago White Sox. Let's go ahead and look at his minor league stats, amateur and college level stats. Okay. So for Texas A&M, he hit 27 home runs with 85 RBI, 322 batting average, 454 on-base percentage, and a 1,000.187 OPS. Very good hitter. Very, very good hitter. But you kind of expect that, right? You expect that as a college player that got drafted. So what are we looking at here? Who is Braden Montgomery and what does he project to be? Well, from all accounts, Braden Montgomery looks to be a very, very good baseball player. Braden Montgomery is somebody that looks like he could profile as somewhere around a Luis Robert. Braden Montgomery looks like he could be a power speed type of guy, maybe somewhere along the lines of a, not quite Byron Buxton, but think a watered down Byron Buxton. It's hard to put a 21-year-old in the same conversation as a Byron Buxton, but think of him in the same vein. Power speed, very consistent offensive production. That speed plays in the outfield because 90% of outfield defense is the ability to catch the baseball and the ability to get a good jump. We've seen with guys like Jarren Duran that you don't necessarily need to get a great jump if you have good speed, and Braden Montgomery has the speed to make up for any bad jumps that he may have. And I'm not an expert on Braden Montgomery by any means, but he does profile to be a very good major leaguer. Braden Montgomery, to me, is actually the single most valuable piece that was traded in this particular exchange from the Red Sox to the White Sox. This is the crown jewel of the package. Now, some will call him a lottery pick. Basically, yeah, any player that you're going to get that just got drafted in this past draft and has not really had any professional experience, yes, they are going to fall into that lottery pick category. But I think Braden Montgomery profiles as somebody that is going to be a very good major league contributor. Now, let's talk about what did the Red Sox get for this? Well, they got Garrett Crochet. Now, who is Garrett Crochet? Garrett Crochet is 6'6". He's 245 pounds. He currently plays for the Boston Red Sox. Really cool that Baseball Reference already updated that on his Baseball Reference page. In 2024, what did he accomplish? Well, he had 4.1 WAR, 6 wins, 12 losses. Not really worried about that. 3.58 ERA in 32 starts. That's the biggest number for me on this list. 32 starts and 146 innings pitched. Yes, he didn't really pitch a ton of innings. Not really worried about that. He made 32 starts. 32 starts, and in those 146 innings pitched, the man was able to put up 209 strikeouts and a 1.068 whip. That's really good. That is really, really good. And when we look at Garrett Crochet's Baseball Savant page, I mean, this page, there's no blue on it, right? With 98th percentile fastball run value, 91st percentile expected ERA, 89th percentile expected batting average. The guy throws a 97.2 average fastball. He'll touch 98 when he's trying to strike somebody out. 98th percentile K percentage. The guy is the definition of a dog. And when we go to the pitcher visualization report, it's super cool. If you haven't been on Baseball Savant, this is one of the cool features that they bring in. We can scroll down and see a visualization of all his pitches. So he throws his fastball 53.8% of the time. Loves his fastball. Then he throws that cutter 28.4% of the time. Changeup 5.9% of the time. The sweeper is 9.8% of the time, which I love to see. And then he has that sinker, which has 19 inches of run, by the way. Thank you, Pitching Ninja on Twitter. 2.1% of the time. When you look at the locations of everything, it's hard to garner a lot of information from these. These just kind of look like a spray chart to me. It's nothing crazy. But when you look at that fastball, he can locate that fastball anywhere in the strike zone. Okay. You can see that he loves to throw that pitch up and into righties and up and away to lefties, loves to generate swing and miss, get a lot of travel on that fastball, get a lot of that movement working as it comes across his body, moving across to the opposite side, up in the zone. Loves to throw that pitch right up in that spot of the zone, which is super cool to see. Let me see that cutter. Loves to throw that back front door cutter that just grabs a piece of the zone right over here, generates a lot of swing and miss. Genuinely one of his most underrated pitches. He doesn't throw it as often as as somebody who like super duper relies on it for all of his swing and miss, but as 28.4% of his pitch arsenal, he throws that cutter quite a bit, and he loves to locate it in that bottom left part of the zone, down and into lefties, low and away to righties. Likes to punch out. If you watched a lot of this guy's strikeout compilations, he's had several high strikeout games. When he's got his cutter going for him, that is where he excels. Loves to strike people out by just locating that cutter at that bottom left corner of the zone. Absolutely devastating. Crazy pitch. I'm going to go ahead and skip over the rest of these pitches. He doesn't throw them nearly as much, but when you look at his pitches and their horizontal and vertical movement. Now, when we look at vertical movement, we can see that he has 48 inches of average break on, what pitch is this? The sweeper. 48 inches of vertical break on that sweeper. Absolutely nuts. And on that same pitch, he's going ahead and getting 12 to 24 inches of break on that sweeper. So just absolutely devastating stuff. Everything that we've seen from this guy is so good. Fastball, 13 inches. Moves 8 inches away from a right-handed batter and drops 13 inches. Look at that's his four-seam fastball. He's throwing this 54% of the time. Absolutely devastating fastball. Coming at you at 98 miles an hour, up and into a right-hander. There's nothing you can do against a pitch like that. Now we look at his cutter. Moves 4 inches towards the right-handed batter and drops 26 inches. A really sharp cutter. Insane, crazy amount of drop. Like see right here, 26 vertical inches of drop and moves in around 4 inches on the right-handed batter. Absolutely devastating. And those are his two primary pitches. I'm going to go ahead and skip over the rest of these. But the two primary pitches here are in that four-seam fastball with 13 inches of drop and that cutter with 26 inches of drop and 4 inches of inside break to a righty. Now, the thing is with Major League Baseball, in case you weren't aware, significantly more right-handed batters than left-handed batters and significantly more right-handed throwers than left-handed throwers. So when you talk about a pitch that moves 4 inches in on a right-handed hitter at the speed and drop of a cutter, talking about insane levels of production. And we've seen a lot of production from those pitches from Garrett Crochet. On average, this man is releasing the ball at 6.1 feet above home plate. Crazy. And in case any of you haven't watched Garrett Crochet pitch, he has one of the most effortless 98-mile-an-hour fastball deliveries I have ever seen. He has that high leg kick, almost reminds you of a Bronson Arroyo type. Just the fact that he's able to do what he's able to do at his frame and his stature is what generates all that strikeout stuff, all the swing and miss that we've seen from him so far. Now, one thing I do want to bring up before we move on and before I get out of here, Garrett Crochet, in case any of you don't know what Spotrac is, if you go to Spotrac and you pull up any player in basically professional sports, but I use it, obviously, of course, 99% for Major League Baseball. If you pull up Garrett Crochet on Spotrac, you can see where he's at in terms of his payroll, what he's going to make in 2025, what his career earnings are, but most importantly for me, what is the current state of his contract? Now, Garrett Crochet signed a 1-year, $2.9 million contract with the Red Sox, including $2.9 guaranteed and an average annual salary of $2.9 million. In 2025, Garrett Crochet will earn a base salary of $2.9 million while carrying a total salary of $2.9 million. Cool. So he's making $2.9 million. We get that. But this is the thing that I'm really looking at here. He's currently in his second year of arbitration. Okay. Garrett Crochet. He has one more year of arbitration. And then what does this say right here? UFA. What does that mean? In 2027, Garrett Crochet is going to be an unrestricted free agent. So, what does this mean? Garrett Crochet, who was just acquired for two top 10 prospects and 4 total prospects in the Boston Red Sox system, only has 2 years of control before the Red Sox are going to be forced to make a decision. What decision do we expect them to make? Naturally, if you're going to give up this level of resources, you expect the Red Sox to extend him. Now, what is the likelihood that the Red Sox are actually going to be able to extend Garrett Crochet? Well, not as bad as you may think. Go ahead and look. Garrett Crochet willing to extend. Why Garrett Crochet? An hour ago from the New York Times. Why Garrett Crochet's trade was necessary first step for Red Sox. Let's just go ahead and look up extension. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again with you. If we look here, after getting burned on 9-figure contracts for Sale and David Price, Red Sox owner John Henry is reluctant to award long-term deals to pitchers, according to sources briefed on his thinking. Perhaps his consistency will extend to an extension for Crochet. His hesitancy will extend to an extension for Crochet, who is under club control for 2 more seasons. But the Red Sox are so deep in young talent that they cannot possibly fit all of their prospects onto future 26-man rosters. So for them, Wednesday trade for Crochet was a move that made perfect sense. Not exactly what I was looking for, but the reason that this is brought up, the word extension is brought up in this New York Times article. Very simple. You have to extend Garrett Crochet. You do not give up the resources that the Boston Red Sox gave up and not extend that player. If you give up a top 10 prospect in your system, that's obviously somebody that you are planning on being a big part of your franchise moving forward. What the Red Sox acquired when they just traded for Garrett Crochet today is they acquired ace-level talent. This is a man that I expect to be the opening day starter for the Boston Red Sox. This is somebody who already has a Tommy John surgery down and in the book, so he's got a fresh UCL to pitch on, which maybe that sounds a little morbid. Promise you, it's not. This guy's got a fresh elbow to pitch on. So when it comes to Garrett Crochet, this is somebody that I fully expect the Boston Red Sox to go out of their way to extend. And I don't just want them to extend him. I want them to extend him this month. I want the Boston Red Sox to lock Garrett Crochet down for at least 8, if not 10 years. Personally, my just ballpark off the dome offer is $200 million for 10 years. $20 million average annual value is very good money for somebody who hasn't quite proven that they have Cy Young stuff yet. And it's also long enough, secure enough, and enough money to lock down somebody like Garrett Crochet, who's had injury troubles and consistency troubles in the past. He has said that he is open, according to John Heyman of MLB Network. He is open to an extension and the security that it will provide. This is Boston. Garrett Crochet has the unique opportunity to, for the long term, become the big lefty number 1 starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox for the next decade. Say what you want, have the opinions you'd like, but the ability to have that level of prominence, that level of importance for an organization like the Boston Red Sox, that doesn't come every day. So personally, I believe that Garrett Crochet is going to sign an extension with the Boston Red Sox. I think he's going to extend probably 6 to 8 years to make it a grand total of 8 to 10 years and become a rock solid, rock steady presence in the Red Sox rotation for the foreseeable future. It's interesting to me to think that not too long ago, we were in a position as Red Sox fans where I would have given you anything for somebody with the consistency level of Nick Pivetta to just supplement the rotation that we had. But in the span of a day, by trading away a draft pick that has only been in the organization for less than 6 months, Craig Breslow was able to bring one person to this Red Sox organization that gives me hope that not only is the front office bought in on the idea of competing for a world championship in 2025, but they are willing to spend assets to get it. Now, we still have to see them sign a contract. We still need to see them make an offer to a big free agent. But I genuinely think that this is a time in an inflection point in the Red Sox history. Like I said, I haven't been this excited about a Red Sox signing since David Price. I haven't been this excited about a Red Sox trade since Chris Sale. I haven't been this excited for a single person added to the roster since David Price. I was probably more excited about David Price than I was Sale. What I need is one more thing from ownership, and it's something that we already are intimately familiar with as fans. I need them to extend Garrett Crochet. I need to be able to not look over my shoulder. What I'm really asking for is somebody that can buy their jersey. I want this player around for the foreseeable future. I have not seen him pitch a single pitch for the Red Sox organization. I don't care. Lock him up. At this point in his career, he is cheap enough that you can lock him up to a long-term deal that isn't so debilitating that you can't offload it later on to a team that thinks that they could use him. Worst case scenario, he's an expensive closer down the road. That's literal worst case scenario if his elbow implodes. Don't see that happening. I think Garrett Crochet is going to be an ace, and I think Garrett Crochet is going to be an ace for a long time in this league. I'm talking about somebody that has the potential for a Cy Young campaign in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm talking about somebody that has the ability to throw no-hitters. I'm talking about a player that has the ability to start Game 1 of the World Series. Garrett Crochet is legit. Garrett Crochet is legitimate ace material. And the Red Sox should be excited because they and their fans just got the number one starter that they have been dreaming of since Chris Sale last got hurt, since 2018. Genuinely has not been anybody in the Red Sox rotation that has had commanded that level of respect since Chris Sale in his 2017 and 2018 campaigns. It's been that long. Red Sox Nation, we got our guy.